All right, this is Scott for SIAP D for Jake. Jake, you did a great job as usual with your content, aligning your evidence, course content, and appropriate external sources. All decisions and facts with your narrative were supported. You were spot on with your organization and how you got the rubric. I saw everything that needed to be there. Each project is explained and suggestions, recommendations were clear. I liked your post-it note idea there that you had. I'd like to use that for some of mine. I've done that a bunch of times in workshops, but I've yet to use it, but I need to. Only suggestion I had was maybe you could include some kind of a chart from SIAP B if you have one. Just who was in attendance for internal and external clarification. I know for my SIAP B one, I used something from Power School that had a demographic breakdown for the kids. Did somebody have the volume turned up real loud? I'm getting a lot of feedback from the background here.
Did y'all keep going, or?
I'm just getting a lot of feedback from somebody. I can barely hear.
After you said chart, that was it. Everybody.
Okay. What I was saying is if you had a chart that you could include for SIAP B, I used the Power School demographic breakdown, and I know that the school report card has it too for some of the older ones. Your quality of work was great as usual. Mechanics and grammar, just read back some minor changes. Organization was great. It was very easy to follow with the rubric. Your descriptors were there at the end, but I didn't see them referenced within the paper. That's an easy fix, and your references were cited properly. Jake, once again, you've been doing some really good stuff, and I would continue on with what you're doing because it's working for you. I'm gonna move on to Kim's. Kim, for yours, there was a lot of good information there. I just think that some of the things need to be developed more, and perhaps look back at the rubric and how that's laid out. I would use a teacher working condition survey. I would use your SIAP A, B, and C, and kind of refocus the paper. I know we kind of discussed some of the situation that you had going on, and I think it's an easy fix. Just, make sure that you're hitting on the stuff for the rubric. I put some suggestions in your review for that. Quality of your work is always good, and your mechanics and grammar are great. I wish I could do that, but I'm all over the place with that. The organization needs some restructuring. Once again, if you just kind of revert back to the rubric and look at that, I think you'll be fine, like we discussed through texts. Your alignment with the descriptors was there. I think that perhaps you had a little bit of a mix-up with the evidence. So just kind of review that. Your references were there. And, I put my comments in your review about looking back at the rubric and making sure you're aligned. I know the work that you're capable of, and I know that you'll make it happen. I think you just kind of cross the evidence.
It's all good though, because everything I've turned in task stream has been, I'm caught up to this. Yay. So I'm good.
Perfect.
I just have to work on these two. I'm okay.
Yeah, I haven't submitted any of the other stuff yet. So
I put the OMA in 2 days ago.
Nice. Cool. Well, I'm done. So whoever wants to go next.
I can go ahead and go. I'll start with you, Scott, because I know you're in a rush to get back. Not that you can leave early.
I can't. It's fun.
So the focus group, because you're holding that record button. But focus group project. So when I reviewed the rubric before I evaluated you guys, basically it says the purpose of conducting a focus group was to review the findings from those data gathering projects that we did for the other components. And I thought you stuck right to that. I'm going to share my screen quickly. I forgot how to do it. So maybe I won't. So I'm not going to.
Don't go messing us up now.
Yep, not going to freeze it up. So I just put in yours. I thought it looked good. I know it was a draft, and we had talked before I reviewed it that it was going to be a draft, and you're going to need to clean it up a bit. But for the most part, like I was saying, you had everything the rubric was asking for. I thought you stuck to those data gathering projects, and that's where you took all of your information from, which was awesome, and that was easy to follow along with. And I liked how you had it set up. You went through each one, and you showed the feedback from your focus group. The only suggestion, there was one part, and you had the heading in there, so I know you're going to complete it before you submit it, but I just wanted to, make sure I let you know that you need to complete that feedback section. You had the heading, I think, what I'm talking about. You had the heading for it, it just didn't have all the information filled in yet.
I'll have to look back. I was kind of rushing through it.
Yeah, but everything was in order. The subheadings and the headings helped out a whole bunch. Just that one section needed to be completed. I gave you a 3 on organization just because it was a draft, and I've seen the work that you've turned in and before, and I know that you'll eventually get that organization part of it where it needs to be. Like I was stating, the subheadings and the headings were perfect. Descriptors were all stated throughout, and then your references, you always do a great job with adding external references that relate to what we are doing. Overall, I thought if you even submitted it right now after you cleaned it up a bit, it would be accomplished because you had everything the rubric was asking for. Moving on to, you good with that, Scott?
Good.
All right, moving on to Tammy. Once again, Tammy, awesome work. I'm always want to throw my papers away and start over after I read yours. Because you provide so much information that I don't even think I can get myself to think about when I'm starting a paper. Like you added that whole section on Title, what was it, Title 9 or Title 1 schools, but it was great. It related to what you were talking about. It related to your focus groups, what your focus group was trying to do in the direction they were headed. There was one part I wanted to say something about. Oh, you did a great job relating all of your information. This is something I need to check into, to the school improvement goals. So everything that your focus group focused on was all related to the school improvement plan, which I thought was the whole purpose of this component. So nice job there. You always have great organization skills. Your sentence structure and your grammar and your format was great with this one. And descriptors were shown throughout. References were clear, like I said earlier. And if you submitted the task stream 4 or 5 days ago, you would have gotten accomplished.
Thank you.
So good job with this one. I really couldn't. Oh, I know what that section was on. It was on the No Child Left Behind. I thought that really related, and that was awesome. That really helped see the direction you were going. But I really didn't see anything. I'm not sure if you listed your descriptors in the actual text. I know you have before, but maybe that's the only thing I can give you just to check on. But other than that, I thought both of you guys did an awesome job. And, yeah, good work.
Thank you.
So, Tammy, you want to go or you want me to go?
Doesn't matter. It's up to you.
I'll go ahead and start since he just got done with you, and
Okay.
I'll go ahead with yours. I agree with him. The research that you started off with to set the tone of the paper and what you were going to discuss, I thought was very relevant, made a lot of sense. You were very detailed in the critical thinking portion of why you guys were kind of recommending the things that you were recommending or what was going on. The only thing that I really had to add, it was professionally written. There were no problems there. The transitions were there was flow to it, and you could understand everything. The only thing I might add, because it did mention in there about the sit part, is just maybe at the very end you did just give a blurb about you plan to share with sit. But if you wanted to add anything, you might add, something about what you foresee the plan for sharing with sit. Is that going to be a meeting? Is it going to be you that's just going to share it? What are your goals? What are you hoping for from that sit meeting or that sharing of that information? But that was really it that I could think that you could add.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to go back and add that. After I read your review, I went back and looked at it, and so before I submit it, I will do that.
Yeah, and really, I think only just because in the descriptor it did specifically talk about recommending to sit. So I thought it might just help if you explain kind of what your vision is for doing that. And then Scott, I kind of said the same thing with yours. The same thing is just that piece of sit, where you plan to go with it from here based on all the recommendations that were given. I know it was a draft, but I think you had all the components, even in the draft portion, you addressed them at least. And the only other thing I had was just like 2 sentences. I mean, your writing's always good. I had 2 sentences. I said I might go back and check. And I referenced them in the artifact in the peer review paper of the 2 places. It's one sentence in the intro and then 1 sentence after in that first subsection. Just kind of look at the sentence because I think maybe it's 2 sentences together.
I'm sure there's a bunch.
I just saw 2. And that's it for that. Just maybe mentioning this because I know you said the rest that it was sort of a draft and there were a couple of things you were going to add.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Kim, I'm going to do yours first if you don't mind.
Okay.
When I read it, I texted you, but I didn't talk as much as Scott probably did. When I saw the one descriptor, and I was reading, and I said, well, maybe she really means focus group instead of needs assessment and all that. And I kept reading it, and then when I saw that one descriptor, I said, that's not like her. So that's why I texted you.
Yeah. I really wait on those descriptors. That's my style for doing this every time. I kind of get the paper, get it all done, and then I go back and sort of right before I submit to task stream, I add those descriptors in at the bottom. I like to step back from it for a couple of days. And then I go back in and say, okay, what did I address? And I type them in there, and then I actually kind of like copy and paste them into the task stream part where right before I submit my work.
Well, I just, it just, I was so confused, but anyway, if you notice, the synthesis and the rubric, it was low because of the, I guess the mix-up where you talked about the needs assessment, and you exactly talking about the focus group.
Right.
So I know you know what. But I knew I had read your stuff before, and I'd actually read your stuff all along, from the beginning when we started. I did, and I read Scott Jake's, yes, from the very first semester. Believe me, I read to see what everybody else was saying before I did mine.
Oh.
I mean,
well, I don't know how much help you got. You're reading mine.
I got a lot of help. It's really been hard this semester, but I will tell you that the other ones, I don't know who I had, but I scored like 3.5. I only scored a couple of 4s, and this semester you guys are really sucking it to me. The critical part from the other peer reviews, they weren't as hard as you guys were, and actually I kind of enjoy it because I've gotten the higher scores because you guys have been so hard. That's a compliment. That's a compliment, believe me.
You hear that, Jake? Did you hear that? That's like, I kept telling Jake that. I said, I want you to be hard on me, man. I
try my hardest. If I knew exactly what it was.
But when it's good, it's good. What are you going to say?
Right. And if I knew exactly what it was supposed to look like, I could tear you apart. Maybe. I don't know. We're all in this together. It's hard.
Yeah. We're all interpreting, I think, what we think that should look like in our schools.
And then I'm trying to understand what it should look like at your school, and it's like, I think you guys do a great job. Yeah. And what it comes down to is task stream. So.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, I know your quality is excellent. It has been since the first semester. Your mechanics, you're the reading specialist, right?
Yes.
So I know that you're good at grammar and stuff. I mean, if you're into reading and grammar and all that, you see all these little things, and it's like scraping your fingernails against the blackboard, those old blackboards. Mm-hmm. It just tears my nerves all to pieces to read something that doesn't flow. And our new principal, he can't write worth anything. I mean, it just gives me the willies. But anyway, your mechanics and your organization, everything, all of that was top notch. And I think once you go back and re-edit and edit what you have, you're going to have all fours like you usually do.
Yeah. No, that's my plan this weekend. So thank y'all for kind of, I was, and to be honest with you, I was really on this one kind of like, okay, I want a break from writing. I want a break from writing. So, and it's kind of coming in the home stretch, but I think that I little bit, but I know where I need to go. So.
Yeah, so, I knew, if you always did that, there's a couple of people that when I read them in the first semester, I thought, where in the world are they going to? I didn't copy them. I copied you guys, really, I did. Oh. Jake, yours was great. I really, really did like Scott said, I had done it in training and stuff. But when I saw those things up there, I said, daggone, that was a good idea. Why in the world didn't I think of doing something like that? But, I mean, that really made the paper, I do believe. Everything I didn't, I really didn't see anything wrong with your paper except your grammar. It was a couple of places in there where the subject verb didn't match. And I didn't, I was trying really hard not to get nitpicky because you're an adult just like I am. I mean, you're not my fifth grade student, so I'm not going to get on you.
No, get on me. When I'm typing, I'm just like trying to get to the end of the paper. So sometimes I have to go back and correct all that.
Yeah, usually I told him, I said, I'm a teenager again. Usually Friday nights, I pull all-nighters doing this stuff.
Whew.
And then I'll sleep until noon or something like that. But I work better at night when it's nobody else around and nobody to bother me.
Right.
But that's usually what I do when I do these things.
Well,
I can't think of anything else.
Well, I'm glad you call me out and mark it up because that's what you and Scott do best for me, and that really helps me out. Thanks, Scott.
Well, I guess is everybody done? I mean, anybody got any questions or anything? This is our last one. Any inspirational words, Jake, for everyone, or
just I always have some inspirational words. Just keep fighting, keep pushing through. We're almost there.
How about bye, Felicia?
You guys want to put your hands in the middle and we'll just go?
Like, I do have a question. That thing that we have to do next week, where we all do parts, do we put it on our discussion board and then just take and put all four?
Copy and paste it into one document.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Who's going to post the I did post what I'd like to do. I know you said the cases and Tammy said the project part. So I said we do the social media part.
Okay.
Finance. You look like a finance kind of guy.
Hey, hit that recording.
I can't even add and subtract.
Hit that recording so Dr. Rapp doesn't have to hear all this.
Oh, all right.
Not that we're talking bad.